do? It's your boy Webby. Stay Webby TV back at y'all with another one. Let's get it, man. So I got a chance to watch the entire fight between David Benavidez and David Morell. And first of all, let me make this clear. I had David Benavidez winning this fight by unanimous decision before I watched it live. And after watching that fight, all 12 rounds, I can honestly say that I'm extremely disappointed with David Benavidez. I wasn't impressed with his last performance before this fight against Gvozdyk, because I felt like David Benavidez didn't hurt the guy, and I felt like the guy's punches was hurting David more than David was hurting him. And I gave David Benavidez the benefit of the doubt. David Benavidez said that he had multiple injuries. He said that his hands were messed up and he had to get staples in his eyelids, something, right? He said that pretty much he went into that fight injured and he was supposed to pull out of the fight, but he still put the fight on for the fans and he was able to still win. So I was expecting the David Benavidez that I saw against Caleb Plant, the David Benavidez that I saw against Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, the Benavidez that I saw against Anthony Durrell. You dig what I'm saying? And that's not what I saw. I was extremely disappointed. I think David Morell showed the world that he's a beast, man. David Morell, he is a heavy puncher. He showcased a lot of things that I didn't see against his last fight against Hot Rod. And I actually had David Morell winning this fight by split decision. I had David Morell winning this fight by like 2 rounds, you feel me? I just think that David Morell landed the more cleaner shots. I think that he did more damage. He landed more power shots. And I just think that he hurt David Benavidez multiple times in the fight. But what I didn't like about David Morell was that he was constantly backing up. Like, I got to give credit when it's due. David Benavidez, he put pressure on Morell the whole fight. He was backing up David Morell for almost the entire fight. And I noticed that whenever David Morell started throwing punches, Benavidez started backing up, which means that the punches was hurting David Benavidez. If you look at these guys' faces after the fight, David Benavidez's face was fucked up, bruh. Like, Morell really was in there putting in work, bruh. David Morell, he is a very hard puncher, bruh. He fucked David Benavidez's faces up. He fucked David Benavidez's face up really bad. Like I said, he was landing like heavy shots the whole night, but there was too many times in the fights where David Morell would stop throwing punches and he would start moving backwards, and he was also showboating. Like, he kept wanting to show David Benavidez that whenever David Benavidez was punching him, Morell wanted to show Benavidez that it didn't hurt. And I'm like, bro, you got to stay focused and take this fight more serious, bro. Because whenever David Morell stopped throwing punches, David Benavidez would throw a bunch of punches to the point where Morell was spending more time backing up, trying to play defense than throwing punches, bro. And when you're fighting a guy like David Benavidez, you have to continue to throw punches. You got to hurt him and you have to move forward. And there was just too many times where David Morell, in the rounds where he's getting off and then he stops throwing punches and he's moving backwards and then he's getting to the ropes and Benavidez is just teeing off on him. But, because Benavidez, he's a counter puncher. If he throws 3 or 4 punches and you don't throw nothing back, he's going to keep punching you. And that's what he was doing to Morell. Now, like I said, Morell landed the harder shots. Morell dropped David Benavidez, right? He dropped his ass. And I seriously think that David Morell could have knocked out Benavidez if he just would have kept throwing punches, and if he would have kept, like, whenever he was hurting Benavidez and Benavidez started moving back, all he had to do was just keep walking forward and keep throwing those punches, and he wasn't doing that, man. He was not doing it. I think a lot of that had to do with stamina. I think in those later rounds, David Morell was gassed. I think his stamina tank was low, and I think that he wasn't throwing as many punches to reserve his energy because I think he was tired. But David Benavidez did not hurt Morell at any point in this fight. And it just goes to show, now that David Benavidez is fighting in a weight class that he probably should have been at this whole time, he's not as dominant as he was at 160. You understand what I'm saying? We're not seeing that same domination, man. This is 2 fights in a row in the same weight class at 175. And we're starting to see that David Benavidez is not a Mexican monster. He was a weight bully. Let's just call it what it is. And I think Canelo Alvarez would beat the fuck out of David Benavidez. Like, I think Canelo, after he fights Terrence Crawford, I think he needs to go in there and fight David Benavidez, because Canelo's better than this guy, bro. He is. Canelo has the best chin in boxing. I think Canelo could drop. He would either drop David Benavidez 1 or 2 times, or he would possibly knock him out. Canelo's just a better boxer. He is. Canelo knocked out Caleb Plant. David Benavidez couldn't knock out Caleb Plant. You feel me? Canelo would have destroyed Grove's Dick at 175. Canelo, would have beat David Morell more convincingly than David Benavidez just did. David Benavidez, bro, his defense isn't good, and like I said, when he's in the ring with somebody that is as big as him, the same weight, he ain't doing no damage, bro. It's like Canelo said, the only advantage that Benavidez has over Canelo is he's a bigger guy. But Canelo is the better boxer. Like I said, David Morell won this fight. I see why David Morell lost, though, because when you're going in there with the champion, when you're going in there with the guy that has the bigger name, you have to really show more than what Morell showed, because at the end of the day, boxing is a business and robberies happen all the time. When you're going in there with a guy that has a bigger name than you, that is more valuable than you, you have to do a lot more to convince those judges to pick you to run the rounds. And like I said, there was too many times in the rounds where David Morell was backing up and he would hurt Benavidez, throw punches, and then he would just stop throwing punches. You understand what I'm saying? He would just spend more time trying to block punches than throw punches. And when you're fighting a guy like David Benavidez, you cannot win fights like that. You have to continue to throw punches. When you hurt him, you got to walk him down. And you can't slow down, bro. David Benavidez, he has great stamina. He's a great counter puncher. But he didn't impress me against David Morell. And keep in mind, guys, David Morell, he only has about 10 professional fights. You understand what I'm saying? He only has, he's just like Andy Cruz. Like, he hasn't even been pro that long. So this should have been easy work for David Benavidez. You understand what I'm saying? So that's all I got for y'all, man. Let me know what y'all think about this video. It's your boy Wavy. Stay Wavy TV. I'm out.